morning everyone, it's Carol here at Oak House Journals. Thank you so much for joining me, it's lovely to have you with me. I'm going to be doing the 50 stack challenge today and I'm going to be doing guest check number 40, and the prompt that Amy has set for this particular guest check was brown, to do something on it in brown. So what I've done is I've lifted out a couple of tags, or one complete tag as you can see here, and a portion, the top portion from an inventory tag. I've got a scrap of card here with lovely brown tones on it, and I've got this very moody piece of cardstock. Love this, love the moodiness, love the almost stormy sky that these birds are flying through, and again it's got tones of brown on, so I'm going to be hitting the prompt with those pieces. I also have this. Now this is just some packaging that came with a parcel very recently, and I straightened it out, ironed it out and popped it to one side, thinking I would use it for a very rustic journal at some stage. But I've got way too much here for what I want to do with this today. But if I open it out, you can see that there is a serrated edge down each of the folds, and I'm just going to take away here a portion of this paper. The rest can go back into my stash for that rustic journal. It's just a couple of pages shorter now, and I'll just keep this to one side because I will be using this in a moment. So let's get started. The first thing I want to do is pop those to one side as well, is to pick a portion of this and cut it to the size of my guest check. And this is bothering me, this white little bit down here. So I'm thinking that what I will do is I will use that portion. So that's cut to size now to fit on there quite nicely. And that piece is going to be hidden. This is the leftover portion that I had from this piece of cardstock. And I'm going to put this piece down on here like that, just to gauge where I need to rip. So I need to rip down to there. And I'm just going to create a very simple pocket on here like that. So I think that gives me enough. I might just take away a little bit more. So we're going for a very rustic look today. So that's going to have that on there like that. So I'm going to go in now with my Distress Oxide Vintage Photo. So hitting the prompt by using Vintage Photo is a lovely shade of brown, and I love the Distress Oxide for inking as well. It just gives just a softer look, I think. I will have that there like that, that on there like that, and I'm going to stitch all the way round this. I'm just wondering whether to decorate it a little bit more with my other pieces. So I was thinking of creating a tag to go in my pocket there. I'd like to use this one, but I've got another plan for this one. But that would be absolutely perfect in there, wouldn't it? But I'm going to use that for something else. I was thinking about using this on the front here, but I don't really want to cover up that bird that I've managed to put down in that bottom corner. I'm really liking that. So I think I might see if I can sort out another tag or something for down there. So let me park that for the time being. I've just got this little ticket here, so I've cut it out and I'm just going to glue it together and then just use my single hole punch to punch out the corners. There we go. For the bottom here, what I've done is I've just layered up a couple of scraps of paper, so I'm just going to glue those down. I've got a piece of German book text, I've got a couple of pieces of voile, I've got a vintage handwritten piece as well, and just a number that I've torn out. I'm trying not to overthink this today. I'm just going to go with whatever seems to feel right. I'm going to put a bit more glue on the top of this because I've got some more voile here. I'm just going to pop that over the top, and then I've got this random number, and I'm just layering those up on that piece down there. And that's all I'm going to do for now. I'm thinking that I'm just going to have that down in that bottom corner. I might go in with a button or something like that in that portion in a moment, I don't know, or I might just do some random stitching across, and in fact I think that's probably what I'll do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go away and stitch this on my sewing machine. I'm just going to glue this pocket in place on the front first. Okay, so I'm going to take this away now, and I'm going to stitch all the way around on my sewing machine, and I'll be back in 1 second. So I've stitched around this now with a couple of lines of messy black stitching on my sewing machine. When I switched off the camera to go away and do this, I realised that I wanted to put a line of stitching down here, so I very quickly lifted this off, did that line of stitching, and then glued it back on, and then went all the way around my piece, and that's what it looks like on the back. And actually I love how it looks on the back, I really do. That's a gorgeous colour. And I'm just going to flatten down my stitches with my bone folder. So this will be positioned on the front of my piece like that. This little piece, I did a line or 3 of just rough stitching across the centre for some detail, and I originally thought that that would go down there, but there's been a slight change of plan. Instead of using this piece, what I thought I would do is use this portion across the bottom here and have that down there like that, and maybe tear it and then use the top portion as a tag to go in that piece down there. And I'm going to create that as a little dangle on this tag. So that's what I'm going to do now. So the first thing first is I'm going to chop it off above where that bird is. I'm thinking that I might just tear across that corner. Let's have a look at that. And then I thought that this could just tuck in there. I need to make it slightly narrower, but I was thinking that that might be nicer to tuck in there, and then when I lift that off, I've still got more of the bird theme going on, which is what I want. So I'm just going to ink up this. So that's that. I've got some news about those bits, so let me share that with you in a second. I'm just going to trim this down. Now, I'm absolutely loving this blue, and I think what I'm going to do is try and keep that. There we go. So just trimmed off the corners of my little tag. That's going to be like that. Now that I'm seeing that in place, this little piece in place along the bottom here, I think it's going to be too fussy to stitch with black stitching. So I'm just going to glue that instead. This is my little tag that's going to sit in that pocket. And this is going to be my little dangle from it. I'm going to glue the bottom of this and pop it in place. And just create a little tuck spot down here. So I'm just going to just take it a smidgen inside the stitching. Now, I'm not liking that this is a ticket. I need to ink round the edge of this. As you can see, this has already got coffee stain paper or tea stain paper on the back. So I'm thinking something like that. I think what I'll do, I'm going to square it off along the bottom there. I'm not liking how that's looking. And I thought that I might just create an eyelet at the top on this tag and just have this one dangling down. Or I could centre it up like that. I'm not liking it particularly at the moment. Let me have a think about that. I might discard that altogether now that I've done it and come up with something else for on here. I've also created a tag here out of some more of the cardstock for the back pocket, and I'm going to stitch all the way around that. And again, I was thinking of making a hangy tag using this so that I could get some more bird images on. So I'm going to park this idea for the moment because I'm not sure about it at all. It's not working for me, in which case I might even just make that a much smaller tag. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. Make that a smaller one and just have it just peeping out a little bit. So I'm going to take a little bit off the bottom. Yeah, I'm liking that. Yeah, I think that'll look better when I've stitched around it and put a little 3mm eyelet in it. So I'm just going to do that now. So I've put an eyelet in this little tag here and I'm going to stitch all the way around on my sewing machine. I need to do some decoration on that. I'm not quite sure what yet, but first things first, I'm going to stitch all the way around that so that it can sit in that pocket. Out of that scrap of paper, I've cut out a tag shape, and this is going to be my hangy tag to go on here. And I want to stitch round both of these as well. So I'm going to take these three off to my sewing machine and I'm going to stitch all the way around them, and I'll be back. And this little tag for this pocket down here, I've just put a scrap of fabric across the top. Let me just move this up a little bit. Sorry, I think I must have nudged the stand. And I've lifted out a ball chain, a little charm, and this is a faux rusted piece. It's a piece of cardboard, but it looks like a piece of old rusted metal, and somebody gifted me that. I'm not sure who it was, but it's just amazing, and I thought it would be perfect from one of my pieces, so I'm kind of thinking I might put it on that little one, but we'll see. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple of holes. These are a bit big at 4mm, but I haven't got any of the 3mm eyelets left, so I'm going to put the 4 in and hope that they don't look too big. And I'm just putting another one up in this tag. As you saw, I'd already done a hole reinforcer for it, but I thought it might kind of pull everything together and match. Just decided to create a couple of reinforcers for these holes rather than to use eyelets. So I'm just going to cut these out. And all I've done is I've used a scrap of the cardstock. These aren't really going to be seen. That one I haven't done very straight, but these aren't really going to be seen, so I'm not too bothered about how they look. Just to add a little bit of reinforcing to these holes, and that one's that way, so let's do that one. Now all I need to do is to take my chain, thread it through from the back, pick up my charm and thread it through to the back and close it up. And there we go, that's my hangy tag. So that I'm thinking will go in the pocket here, like that. And this one, I thought that if I get a little piece of thread, I can, let's pop that in, see what it looks like first. I'm liking the 8, but I'm not really wanting the key on there, I think. So I think I might take that off and open out this really nice, almost like a cord, metal cord jump ring, and use some thread and tie that onto there, or stitch it onto there. So I've just used a piece of thread, threaded it through the top with a darning needle and tied it off. So I've got a little bow on that, and that will sit in that pocket there. And actually I've used some thread off the top of this tag for up here, and now seeing the two together I'm not liking that, so I'm going to alter that and put a piece of this twine in there. I'm also going to put a dab of glue on here because I can see that it's tempted to unravel, so that will hold that. And the joy of art glitter glue is that it always dries clear, so that will be hidden. So I'm just going to tap it with my finger, but that will hold that knot in place, or that little bow in place for me. And yeah, let's get rid of this thread here. And similarly on this one, just grab a length of this and pop it through. I think I'll do it double. And similarly with this one, so let me grab another length. And actually what I'm thinking might be nice to do is to tie a bow at the top of this one, so I think I'll do that. There we go, and again another little dab of glue on there just to hold that bow in place. Some threads will sit nicely, won't they, whereas others just kind of unravel themselves. So there we go, I'm liking how that's looking at the moment. I'm not going to tie a bow on this one. I'm going to leave my thread out just in case I want to do that, but at the moment I'm thinking I'm just going to leave that as it is. So let's just pop that up there and move these out of the way. Right, so what I thought I would do now is have a little bit of a play with the brown paper. What I've done with my piece of paper is to create some accordion folds. So I've created, if you remember, this piece of paper was folded in half, and I just did a mounting fold on either side of the natural fold of the paper, so that it looks like that. And then I put the edge of my guest check against those folds, and I created a fold that way. Then I folded it back on itself by another centimetre, and then folded it back on itself again another centimetre, so that it looks like this. And you can probably see where I'm going now with this. So I have my two mounting folds on the outside edges, my valley fold inside, and my paper, I have a flap inside here. So all I'm going to do is just close that too, and if I put my guest check on it, you'll see that it now is, that piece of paper with the two mounting folds is now the width of my guest check. So I'm going to open it up again, and I'm going to very roughly cut away probably about that much. So I'm just going to cut away a portion of this back piece here, like that. I'm going to put a line of glue along this edge down here, and along this edge here, and along the bottom here. So now what I have is a little tube that looks like that. This I'm going to put onto my guest check like that, and I'm going to seal along the bottom edge here. What I'm going to do first, I'm going to just trim along this edge to make sure that I've got rid of that serrated edge. I'm going to just fold it up like that, make sure that it is level, which it is, and I'm going to glue all these edges together. So in there, that portion in there, that portion in there, and this portion along here. So all I've done is make a very, very crude paper bag for the front of my guest check like that. Just level it up, and then I'm going to fold over this top portion like that, and again glue these pieces, but what I want to do is reverse that fold all the way round, create those side folds again, There we go. So now I have a reinforced top. So I'm going to glue that fold in place. Now I can gently tuck it back in place again. There we go. And I'm going to have this on the front of my guest check now, so I'm going to glue it on my guest check, and the idea is to have that on the front as well, like that, so that I have a little brown paper bag pocket in the back. Again, just checking I've got no seepage. And there we go. So that's my little, I have got a little bit of seepage there. Just check. And there we go. That's my little paper bag. That's my little brown figure 8 on the front there, my hangy tag. That goes on there like so. That goes into the pocket like that. And then I've got this one, which I thought I would just tuck in the back like that. So you've got a hint of those threads at the top. So you can trim those off. Now I need to decide whether I'm going to decorate that tag, and I think I will. So for this, I just thought I would use up some scraps out of my scrap bin and just do a rough collage on it. So this is how the inside tag looks now that I've finished doing a little bit of random collaging on it. So I've got some brown paper on it, I've got some ledger paper, I've got some embossed vellum paper, a bit of brown paper that I made all of these out of, a number sticker, a little paper sticker there, and some brown German tape, and I've put an eyelet in the bottom, and I've just flipped it over and done a little bit more on the other side. So this tag now will fit into my little brown paper bag at the back like that, and that's what it looks like now that it's all finished, done and dusted. So this is prompt number 40. So let me just grab my pencil and do a hashtag 40 and brown. So there we go, everybody. That's my little finished piece. Oh, I tucked a little ticket in there as well that was brown, because I had them out when I was doing this, so I thought it would be nice to tuck an extra one in the front pocket just there and have it peeping out. So there we go, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. A bit of a grungy piece, this one. I hope I've picked up enough brown, I think I have, to hit the prompt for this time round. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your festive season, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everybody. Bye bye now.